Polls have closed in Ecuador after the population turned out in large numbers to vote for the president, vice president, and National Assembly members. Haitian President Jovenel Moïse has denounced an alleged coup and assassination attempt against him. At least 10 people killed and over 100 injured in India after Himalayan glacier broke apart and crashed into hydroelectric dam. Hello and welcome to teleSUR English. I'm Jose Daniel Lopez in Quito, Ecuador, and this is from the south. Ecuador voted massively for a change, and with more than 90% of the votes scrutined, the binomium of UNES, integrated by Andres Arauz and Carlos Rabascal, exceeded over 10 points to its nearest contenders. The country is preparing closer for a second round in April. Andres Arauz, who until the beginning of last year was not even a presidential candidate, is winning Guillermo Lasso. The businessman representative of the movement Creo has been superior with more than 10 points for 12 years. He's trying to chair the South American nation and disputes over a tie merging the passage to the second round with Yacu Perez, the electoral race. The forecasts that gave a low participation were defeated by the massive contest of Ecuadorians to the poll, estimated at almost 70%, despite the complications that were presently duringly. The expectative continue high. The Arauz container is defined in the second round and the possible alliance. Beyond the figures offered following the quick count of votes conducted by the National Electoral Council, which was criticized for not offering data with a clearer advantage between the second and third place candidates, the figures in terms of the real count, which was advanced slowly but has picked up pace, also give Andres Arauz the lead with 30.90% of the votes, having counted 50.6% of ballots. Meanwhile, Yacu Perez and Guillermo Lasso are almost neck to neck with 20.98 and 19.32% respectively. Presidential candidate for the Union for Hope coalition, Andres Arauz, pointed at alleged irregularities in the announcement by the National Electoral Council of the quick count of the results of the first presidential round, which gave him a lead of 31.50%, followed by Yacu Perez with 19.97%.
From a mathematical, statistical point of view, and that is one of the areas of my specialty, it is not advisable, in any case, to publish results that have been overlapped in the respective ranges, precisely because it generates anxiety, controversy, indefinition, uncertainty to the actors, when the role of the National Electoral Council is to generate certainty, clarity, clear communication for all parties, precisely what has not happened.
In Ecuador, in the framework of the general elections this Sunday, the candidate Yacu Perez presented himself to the headquarters of the National Electoral Council after the announcement of the results of the quick count, to denounce the lack of transparency in the announcement of results after various surveys placed him virtually in third place.
Interviewers once again feel I don't think it's so ingenious to me. It seemed that was coolly calculated. It was premeditated. In the interviews, they always put us too low, and no, we are not a theory for put it. Keeps coinciding with the result entering our platform. Here we are with a technical tie with Arauz. However, they put us so low now with the result that the CNE just given the rapid counting in the second position. It's the same position in second position, because they put us in a third place that their once again it is evident the senators respond to the banker and the social criminals respond to the law, which is in virtue. They do want Pachacutu to have Yacu Perez go to the second return on the second round be defeated.
The candidate of Pachacuti movement, Yacu Perez, called on political forces and social movements to work together on the occasion of the preliminary results that place him as candidate for the second presidential election next April 11.
Alliance will be expanded with all sectors. That may be good social sectors, more and good political sectors that align themselves to the frontal fight against corruption, to a frontal fight against violence, to a frontal fight against the division of the country, to all who are committed to national reconciliation, to reconciliation with more nature, to those who agree to protect the planet, and if we protect the planet, our children and the children of our children, the doors will always be wide open.
In this context, the presidential candidate for the Creating Opportunities movement, Guillermo Lasso, announced that his party will not recognize the possibility of a runoff election until all the votes have been counted.
We respect the law, and in this case, the law implies recognizing the results when 100% of the tallies have been counted.
We'll go to a short break now. Join us again in a minute. Welcome back. This Sunday, Haitian President Jovenel Moïse denounced an alleged coup and assassination attempt that was foiled by the National Palace Security. At least 20 people, including a judge and a police inspector, were arrested and are not being identified by the head of the Supreme Council of the National Police. Moïse stated that the operation was part of an alleged conspiracy which dates back to last November with the intention of killing him. Meanwhile, the streets of Port-au-Prince remain half empty, and the few demonstrators who gathered at the strategic points were dispersed by the police with tear gas. The alleged coup comes as Haitians continue to mobilize and call on Moïse to step down as his constitutional mandate as president ends this Sunday. In the United Kingdom, doctors are making home visits to vaccinate those who are not able to travel to vaccination sites. The UK has seen Europe's deadliest coronavirus outbreak with over 112,000 confirmed deaths, but it has embarked on a speedier vaccination plan than the neighboring European Union.
People have expressed how grateful they are that we've come out to see them because they couldn't come to see us. Morning, Kai.
We are making contingency plans as the Prime Minister's instruction to us is not only to vaccinate at pace now, but to also think of the future of how we future-proof our vaccination program from COVID in the way we do with annual flu vaccination program.
People have expressed how grateful they are that we've come out to see them because they couldn't come to see us. Morning, Kai.
We are making contingency plans as the Prime Minister's instruction to us is not only to vaccinate at pace now, but to also think of the future of how we future-proof our vaccination program from COVID in the way we do with annual flu vaccination program.
People have expressed how grateful they are that we've come out to see them because they couldn't come to see us. Morning, Kai.
We are making contingency plans as the Prime Minister's instruction to us is not only to vaccinate.
Italian authorities have granted permission to a rescue ship with 424 migrants abroad to dock in Sicily. SOS Mediterranean, the humanitarian group which operates The rescue ship Ocean Viking reported that 8 of the migrants rescued off the coast of Libya on Friday and Saturday tested positive for COVID-19. Officials said they were being isolated from the rest of the group despite difficult conditions of the vessel. The NGO say, in addition, one pregnant woman in critical conditions was evacuated with her partner by a helicopter of the Maltese Armed Forces and transferred to Malta on Saturday. The Netherlands and parts of Germany were blanketed by a snowstorm on Sunday that disrupted planes and trains and put some coronavirus testing on hold. The United Kingdom was also bracing from heavy snow from what Dutch meteorologists have called Storm Darcy, which was packing winds up to 90 kilometers per hour. Dutch authorities declared a rare code red emergency for the entire country as it was hit by its first proper snowstorm in more than a decade. All trains were cancelled, including international services to Germany. Trams were halted in capital Amsterdam, while a tram derailed in the snow in The Hague. Motorists were advised to avoid traveling, and more than 80 cars were reported to skid off the road. Most parts of the country had between 5 and 10 centimeters of snow, but some areas received 30 centimeters. The conditions are so severe that the Dutch government has closed all coronavirus testing centers for several days. Germany's central and northern areas have been hit hard by heavy snow and winter storms. Rail and road traffic in large parts of the country were disrupted and some Bundesliga football matches cancelled. The German railway company suspended numerous local and long-distance connections. Several states of the country have been covered with more than 20 centimeters of snow, with winds as strong as 80 kilometers per hour. Police closed numerous slippery motorways as hundreds of accidents were reported. This Sunday saw students to take to the streets of the Greek capital Athens to protest against a new law introduced by the government to police university campuses. The Parliamentary Committee on Education approved the legislation, which includes tougher conditions to access higher education and foresees the creation of special police forces to patrol university campuses with the excuse of preventing crime. Various students and union movements affirm that they will continue to mobilize against the measure, which they consider anti-democratic. In recent days, there has been clashes between police forces and students. Pope Francis stated that he was following the situation in Myanmar with great concern, appealing to those responsible to work for the common good and democratic coexistence.
These days, I am following with great concern the situation that has developed in Myanmar, a country that since my apostolic visit in 2017 I hold in my heart with great affection. In this very delicate moment, I desire to share my spiritual closeness, my prayer, and my solidarity with the people of Myanmar. And I pray that those who have responsibility in the country put themselves with sincere willingness at the service of the common good to promote social justice and national stability for a harmonious, democratic coexistence.
Burmese workers have protested in front of the United Nations office in the capital of Bangkok against Myanmar military control. Protesters called for the UN to take action against General Myung Aung Hlaing, who stated a military government in Myanmar on February the 1st. They demanded the immediate release of National League for Democratic Party leader Aung San Suu Kyi, who had been successfully elected and condemned for the seizure of power by the Myanmar army. The Myanmar military seized power on Monday and declared a state of emergency for 1 year.
Nobody can accept the coup. We can't do anything, and we can't go back to our country either. And if I could go back to Myanmar now, I'd be living in hardship and not as comfortable as before.
And we have more news coming up after a short break, so stay with us. Welcome back. At least 9 people have died and about 150 went missing after a glacier broke and swept away at a hydroelectric dam in northern India. The massive water flowed through the later river, slamming into two dams and damaging a number of homes. Most of the missing people are from the power plant next to the dam that was washed away by the surge. Rescue workers, including India's army, were still searching for the victims of the disaster.
This unfortunate incident happened around 11 a.m. when an avalanche struck and destroyed the Rishi Ganga power project. Almost all of the workers who were working there are missing. There is also a National Thermal Power Corporation project in Tapovan, which has been impacted. There were around 150 workers there as well.
Health officials in the Democratic Republic of Congo confirmed a new Ebola outbreak in the country's east side on Sunday, the fourth in less than 3 years. Minister of Health Ently Longondo announced that the government has begun tracing everyone who came in contact with the confirmed cases in order to try to eradicate the epidemic as soon as possible. This is the 12th outbreak in the conflict-ridden country since the virus was first discovered in the country in 1976 and comes less than 3 months after an outbreak in the western province of Ecuador officially ended in November. Health officials are concerned about the new Ebola outbreak could badly affect the nation's fragile health system, especially as it faces a resurgence of COVID-19. South Africa Minister of Health, Silviki Mixi, has stated that more studies needed regarding of the efficiency of the AstraZeneca of the South African coronavirus strain.
Infection, and we are uncertain about the impact of the vaccine that it will have on hospitalization, severe diseases, and death. Excuse me. This means that what we will take from Professor Shabir Mahdi is that some more work needs to be done on this issue, because the results from other countries have been quite satisfactory, but there are issues in South Africa that we need to study a bit more. There are discussions going on Sputnik V. There are discussions going on the Sinopharm. The department and the Ministerial Advisory Committee are dealing with that. There are discussions that are going on with Moderna, and we will also need to explore on Novavax, because that one had not been much of discussion. So the discussion on all of them remains open.
Chad's former Prime Minister Moussa Faki Mahamat has won a second term of chairperson of the African Union Commission. He was elected unopposed during the Continental's Bloc 2 days virtual summit. Faki got 51 votes out of 55, with 3 abstentions and 1 member state unable to vote due to non-payment of membership fees. His victory is the highest in the EU's history. The seasoned diplomat is expected to face a tough test in his second term, as he will deal with a wide range of issues, including a rise in coronavirus infections, border disputes, and the conflicts with Ethiopia and the Central African Republic. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei says the U.S. must complete
its Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action commitments, the United States must completely lift sanctions, and not just in words or on paper. They must be lifted in action, and then we will verify and see if they have been properly lifted, and then return to these Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action commitments. This is the Islamic Republic's definite policy.
China delivered 600,000 doses of its Sinopharm coronavirus vaccine to Cambodia on Sunday, making the kingdom the latest country to use the Chinese jabs.
The government and the people of Cambodia our deep gratitude to the Chinese government and the people who donate the first batch of 600,000 doses of vaccines out of 1 million doses via the Chinese Ministry of Defense to the Cambodian army and people. Again, I would like to affirm that Sinopharm vaccines, our friend China, that were given to Cambodia have been recognized as safe and efficacy vaccines for people aged between 18 and 59 and have received purchase order and approval for use by many countries in the region and the world.
India has donated 500,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine to Afghanistan. The country has so far recorded over 50,300 confirmed COVID-19 infections across the country, with more than 2,400 recorded deaths. So the number of infections could be far higher because of many people have not been tested.
The vaccines we have received are under the World Health Organization certification process. According to our conversation with the WHO, they told us that the approval process of this vaccine certification takes a week to 10 days.
And we come to the end of this news brief. You can find this and many other stories in our website at telesurenglish.net.